This meeting is now being recorded.
So you can click that.
Jill. Got on.
Let me know if you, yeah, perfect.
All right. Thanks for joining, everyone. Today we're going to take some time to go over the eCaST billing reports because most recently we've been getting a lot of requests about number of people served and types of services, and I wanted to take the opportunity to show you where you can find that in eCaST. So here we go. You log into eCaST and go into reports. And please ask questions as we're going along.
To unmute your phone, please press *6. And we can't see the chat box right now. We can see it later. So you're going to need to speak out. Unmute yourself and talk to us. Thanks. Sorry.
Thank you. Once you log into eCaST, go to the Reports tab and go to your budget tracking. And you guys will be able to see all of these because you'll be able just to see your budget tracking and what reports are available to you. Select the 2015 fiscal year, and your end date will be January of this year. It'll show you the percent fiscal year, how much we've already gone through. And then we're going to use this awesome test agency.
Oh, not just test, but awesome test.
Yes.
The test agency was already taken.
Oh.
You run your report.
We don't even know if they're doing awesomely.
Well,
It's been premature.
See.
And hopefully your site, it will process more quickly. Choose PDF. And here is your budget tracking report. And here are the dates for your agency, for the Awesome Test Agency. It'll show you your screening cap amount, your total amount, and how much you've been paid year to date, how much of the fiscal year we're through. And here, down here is where you can find your numbers in terms of year-to-date breast screens and year-to-date cervical screens. And the total number of women paid down here. If you need more specific data than this report, then you can always contact us and I can run more specific data for you. But this is where you can get your number served and types of services.
Can I go back? I'm an agency. Can I go back and do September and see where I was in September as opposed to right now? Kristen says yes.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
I guess I need to close out of that and go to your budget tracking. Yes, and start over. Kristen?
So put in whatever date you want. I would remember that this will only pick up information as of each bill run. So if, for example, you're interested in how you were doing as of the September bill run, you would do probably through the end of September.
We're doing October, that's good.
So if we're doing through the end of October, we're now assessing how are we doing, and that's totally fine too.
That's fine.
Okay.
So here we're going to be assessing all bill runs that happened before October 31st
Mhm.
for Awesome Test Agency.
Mhm.
And we should see the same, well, if you had any sort of GFCL between now and then, it would show your old contract amount.
Mhm.
It'll show the amount you were paid as of that date.
Got it.
So, for example, if your organization expects to get a GFCL in the next month or so, with a change to your budget, next month will look different than this month does.
Because that screening cap amount will be different.
But we also are now tracking in eCaST when caps change. We're not writing over them, so eCaST knows what it was in the past and would display that here.
Smart. Okay.
And if you were to run this like at the beginning of the fiscal year, say in August, and you got a blank report, that means that you didn't have any screenings that were complete enough to be paid out. Any other questions about the budget tracking report?
Nope.
If not, we'll go on to the grant activity statement, which can also be found here under your reports tab. And again, it's really important that you select the fiscal year. If you don't select the fiscal year, you'll also get a blank report.
Ah. So if you get a blank report, first thing to ask yourself,
Yes,
fiscal year.
fiscal year. So again, on the grant activity statement, you can put in your start date and end date. So you can look at 1 month of your for your agency, or multiple months. And with each bill run, we tell you to choose the first day of the month to the last day of the month. So I want to look at, for this, I want to just look at November. So I would put in November 1st to November 30th. I don't want PHI, and run my report.
How would you run a report without PHI if you were an agency?
If you're not interested in, the specific person or screening for a specific person, then you don't need PHI. But like for grant activity statement, you might be interested in knowing or looking at your report by date of birth or something like that. So then you would run it. But
One good rule of thumb, and the reason it defaults to no, is that really you should only be pulling and seeing PHI, anybody in general, if you actually need it. So if you need name or date of birth, change it to yes, and then you can see the PHI. But it will default to not showing it, just so you know you're printing off things where you really need to see or store that PHI on your computer or in your office.
So for the Awesome Test Agency in November, they created a grant activity statement, and it doesn't list your total amount for your entire contract, but it lists all the services that you were paid in November. And here, by patient ID and date of last procedure, the type of service, and the amount that you were reimbursed. And at the very bottom, then you have your total amount for your 65 screenings in that month, and your federal and what monies are coming out of your federal funds and your state funds.
What does it mean, Q, when the level is missing? There isn't one on the screen, but what does that mean?
If you're looking at your grant activity statement and this is blank, that means that that is a procedure that is paid outside of the BPS. That's the like MRIs or COPLs that need Angie's approval before getting paid. So that's where you would look. If you look,
they're not at the bottom.
Yeah, and they'll show up again by date of the procedure date.
Got it.
And those aren't very common, but I would also say that many organizations don't remember or know to ask for that or to look for that. And oftentimes Q, Angie, or myself will be pulling and looking actively statewide at what data has been entered that may be eligible for additional payment. For example, if you had to do 2 colposcopies or 2 breast biopsies on a woman, we are actively trying to review and identify those, but you're also always welcome to contact us or communicate that so that it's not when we notice it, but it's maybe paid a little bit more timely than when we would notice it. So don't forget that there's extra language at the bottom of your BPS chart for what kinds of procedures are payable above and beyond the BPS rate or level.
And the BPS chart, this is Angie, has not yet been updated since we've allowed second breast biopsies to be reimbursed. So that will probably come out when the next edition of the toolkit comes out.
So these 2 reports are your go-to reports if you're wondering about your number served, types of services, who got paid in what month, and your the amounts paid. I did want to point out for the grant activity statement up here, I don't know, I'll show you, with the budget tracking, it showed you the dates for your parameters here, but for the grant activity statement, it only has your contract year. It doesn't have the parameters that I had put in November 1st through November 30th, so just keep that in mind. And I have made note to ask our developers to put that in because I think it's helpful, because sometimes I forget, oh, what months am I looking at? So that is one of the differences, another difference between the grant activity statement and the budget tracking report. If I wanted to let everyone know too that in today's WWC update, there is a link to the quick reference guide. And if you want to go back and refer to that, there is a section on billing, and that talks about how you pull the grant activity statement and the budget tracking report in that quick reference guide. Cool. Are there any questions?
Star 6 to unmute yourself.
That was a quick and easy eCaST users group.
Are those the only reports that they have so far?
No, they have other reports, but these are the couple people that asked.
Yeah.
I don't know, that is a good question though. Are there any other reports that you would like us to review? These were the ones we felt like agencies had been asking us for information that oftentimes is available in these reports. So we wanted to make sure everybody knew how to access, particularly that budget tracking report that has your client volume in it. But are there other reports that people have questions on?
is this one. If there aren't any questions, I just wanted to take a quick moment for a couple of announcements. I want to remind everyone that Nick is out until the 17th of February. So if you have data questions or general eCaST questions, please feel free to contact myself and or Kristen. And there is a technical assistance webinar February 4th that Kristen is running starting at 9:30, so please join her if you are interested and have some questions. And then just a real quick reminder that our data cleanup is coming up again. We will have another submission to the CDC in April, so we're starting to ramp up on that.
So you probably will see some communication from us in late February or early March with your Datapalooza sheet. That will be one of the very first things that Nick does when he gets back into the office, is it will be Datapalooza time.
Did we tell him he had a boy?
Did we tell you guys that he had a baby boy?
Yay.
Whose name I call?
Henry Atticus.
Henry Atticus, yes.
I would like to take the time to plug the WWC program orientation. On February 11th, there is a link to register for that in the WWC update. If you are new or any of your staff is new to WWC, highly recommend you attend that. It's a webinar.
What is it for?
It's the WWC, it's the program orientation.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, it's an overview of WWC. It's about 2 hours, maybe a little less, and we go over a little of everything, and it's really a great opportunity for you to ask questions also. I will be there, Ivy will be there, and Angie will be there, and maybe others, I don't know.
But it isn't only just for new agencies, right? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really for any new staff members.
Okay.
Any and all new staff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, some people just like to go to hear our voices.
Chris's voice in particular.
Especially my voice, yeah, right.
Are there any other, since we have eCaST and the screen up, are there any other questions that people have that you think might be worth going through as a group? Probably if you have the question, others do
Others
as
would.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a report that we used to look at to see what procedures were unpaid for?
Let me repeat the question just to make sure I understand. Is there a report to see what procedures have not been paid for?
Or no, like the ones that we enter in and then for some reason they aren't paid for, maybe like short-term follow-ups or something like that?
Oh, that is a good question. So mostly that has transitioned to the dashboard where you see your errors list. So all of those cases would have the procedures not eligible, or all procedures aren't covered.
Yeah.
And we will, in a quick second, we can go back to the dashboard and show you this. There is a report that's available that essentially prints out all of those errors. So if you ran your errors report, it's similar to the list that's on your dashboard, but if you wanted it, essentially to print it out or to see all the procedures that had errors, it will list that. So, Q, could you go to the dashboard and let's run that report. So there is screenings with errors. So this acts just like, or very similar to your dashboard. It gives you the same information, but I know that sometimes it's helpful for you guys to have it in a PDF format. So let's run this for the awesome agency and see what pops up. Okay, so here, one thing that's different, it's giving you an option for which of the sites you want to see. What we're going to do is we're going to say select all clinics, but maybe you have a lot of clinics and you only want to see it for site A. You have the option of picking and choosing. Oh, did it? Looks like it moved.
Great question.
Hopefully this person, or this test agency, I can't remember if it was loaded with any procedure level errors, but every individual procedure with an error will be listed here with that procedure's issues. So if you're interested in seeing that, you should be able to see it here. So let's scroll down. What you do see here is the client ID, the screening ID, and their errors. If we had turned on PHI, you would see their name and their date of birth as well. And so if there are any, we're looking for something that says procedures not covered. I know, I don't see any.
Sorry, I don't see any. Pending screenings.
Here's one. Okay, so here's an example. So this particular case at the bottom, you see it says all procedures must meet coverage rules. That's what you would see on your dashboard. But then beneath it, despite all this extra white space, you do see that procedure error. It says PAP HPV performed sooner than medically indicated.
Oh, yeah.
So here's a way for you to see all your procedure level errors. They're going to be kind of nested within the screening that has or contains the error, but this, again, it's the same information. It's not any different than the information you would find on your dashboard, but I know sometimes you guys would rather be able to print out a PDF and go through it that way than to go through it dynamically in the system or maybe divvy them out or something like that. So, and I think this one's particularly nice because you can see all the procedure errors with the message instead of having to go into it case by case. So this is what the name of this report was, Screening with Errors.
Screening with Errors report.
Yes.
There's another one that says there.
Okay. Thank you.
And the screening case management report, Chris just mentioned that one. That is similar if you are used to the old eCaST system to 84 and 85. It's going to list all cases with pending diagnostic workup.
Scroll up. Will that help?
You click away. Go away.
Oh. There we go.
Scroll up.
Screening case management. You're right.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Screening case management. So this is going to show us all cases that require follow-up.
I'll go, I don't know.
Go back, yeah. So what is that? Does that get based on?
Really, the dates don't matter.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm wondering.
There is a quick reference for how to run the reports that is on the eCaST, not the eCaST website, but within our provider resources. I don't even know how to explain what that is. If you go to provider resources on the WWC provider resources website, there's an eCaST link there that gives you options for all of our training documents and reference materials, and it would include this quick reference
Training
for
and
reports.
technical assistance is the link name.
Okay.
There we go.
So here we see all cases that are pending diagnostic workup. So the first case, for example, client with a CVE that was suspicious for cancer in December and no other data entry in eCaST. One thing just to kind of remember about the way workup gets triggered in eCaST, it can get triggered by one of two things. So if
Just look at this.
yes, if all your screenings were normal, but the clinician said she wanted to follow up for some reason and you marked further immediate follow-up required, that would appear here. Generally, what you see is some sort of procedure that's abnormal and follow-up required, and those would appear here. But on occasion, for some reason, maybe you have a case where eCaST thinks it's abnormal, but you don't think it is, and you change it to follow routine or short-term follow-up. Those would still appear here until you talked with A&G about them. So Just remember that until it doesn't have any caution flags and it drops off this report, it's not ready for reimbursement through WWC, and that's a good time to get in touch with Angie.
Okay, thank you.
Report that I work off of, so agencies will occasionally get emails from me requesting what's the follow-up plan for a particular client, and this is where I'm getting that, getting those errors. And it's also helpful if you have a client on this list, on the screening case management report. It's also helpful to add a note, because if I run across someone who I'm thinking about emailing you to find out what, if we could close the case, or what the final diagnosis is, or what the plan of care is, and you know that it's going to be extended for some reason, like she's no-showed a couple excisional biopsy appointments or something like that, it is really helpful for me to have a note in eCaST, so I look at that and then I don't bother you as often.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me check if anyone typed in a question. Nope.
Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, I think we'll just let you off the hook early. And please let us know, email any of us on the team if you think of topics or things that you wish we would go through in more depth, that maybe we need more time to prepare for, because we want to make these useful and meaningful for you guys. So let us know if you have feedback, or if there are things you would like us to cover in detail. We're happy to do that.
And those agencies that were not able to type in their attendance, please stay on the line and we'll complete roll call.
You can just type your agency name in the chat if you want.
Or *6 to unmute yourself.
Thanks, everyone.
Or *6.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can stop.
Yeah. Yes.